Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks, bringing you updates in the Mag 7 on a weekly basis on our YouTube channel. I did this for the week of Monday, November 24th, 2025, actually recording it on Sunday, the 23rd. We'll start with Microsoft as usual. All weekly bar charts, by the way. This is big picture, broad brushstroke analysis. There really are no 3 to 5 day swing trade or even so many, well, there's some 3 to 5 week swing trades we're presenting here, but this is more broad brushstroke. In fact, this is very broad brushstroke, this particular image. It shows a channel structure that we've tested now. The first time was really back in July when and this channel top at 548.95 is of equal significance to the 571.85 channel top. It's just that this one spans much further back to the November 21 high, and this one is based off the July 24 high. But band of resistance for Microsoft, significant overhead resistance, able to contain longer term buying pressures, as we've been saying for months, and below which we can over time fall to channel support that is presently in the upper 370s and climbing over time. I wouldn't be surprised to see this lower area by some point in 26. We did have a sell signal last week that is more near term in scope when we closed below the 490.77 channel bottom. So this is a good, if you're not in Microsoft right now, or let me say it a couple ways, if you are long Microsoft and you don't want to endure a continued price erosion into the mid to upper 420s over the next several months, you may consider selling 490.77 and taking either a loss or maybe some profits. Maybe you're long from way back when. Either way, I leave that to you. But what I see here is 490.77 able to contain buying through the rest of the year and over the next couple of months. With present volatility, this could be within 3 to 5 weeks perhaps, the 425.36 to 428.37 area. 428.37 is just sort of a doubling of this channel all the way down to 420. It's a targeting mechanism, but it also coincides nicely with the 5/8 downside Fibonacci from this April low against this July high. These are the two extremes. 5/8 back is 425.36. This is a solid area where this move can exhaust itself, and we could bottom out here possibly through the first quarter, but I do think there's a very real possibility, as I was saying before, that by some point in 26, we could see 379.87. And I'll just take us one more time to this chart that, yes, if we close below 425.36 in the coming weeks, that 379, which is about here, just another 3 to 5 weeks or a couple of months away from being tested. Let's move on to Amazon. Amazon tested this channel top that we had as an objective, some weeks ago, 254.24, and you really need to combine it with 271.31 if you're a long-term position trader. If you're looking to buy Amazon longer term on strength, it would be above 271.31. Then we sort of enter this kind of vertical move that should sustain through 26. But until then, this is your sell zone, whether it's taking profits on a previously held long position or actually establishing a short trade. Downside with respect to Amazon, we did enter this targeted zone that was established really, well, we were talking about this channel bottom when we tested this 254.24 channel top, if you recall. I could actually kind of reconstruct right now just a little bit to show you that a lot of these images we wind up erasing because there's only so much time and only so much space, but it really was this channel bottom that we considered kind of a 1 to 2 month, 2 to 3 month target, if you recall, following the testing of 254.24 that became clarified, underscored with the settlement a couple of weeks ago below the low of the high of 238.49. So that sell signal has played out. We've reached our objective. In other words, we've slipped into this band of support. This is bottom picking territory, whether you're covering a short position you may have established some weeks ago, or whether you're looking to go long Amazon through the rest of the year, because this is the area where we could actually bottom out into the first quarter from 211.99 back to 220, from 211 to 220. I'm just going to round to the whole number. From 211 to 220, we can round up from here into January, February, round back up into this zone of resistance following the testing of the 210s, 220s. If we do close below 211.99 this week. More bloodletting, more collapse to 174.99. This is probably by the end of January. We should see the mid 170s. And this level may well contain selling through all of 26. We could round out of here nicely as we move into later next year. I don't expect it a clear-cut objective unless we close this week below 211.99. Until then, this is your bottom picking back into, once again, the 250s to 270s. On to Meta. Meta has been in a short sale for the last month below 650.02, this descending channel bottom, still anticipating the 545.78 structure, and this remains an objective. If tested, we can round up nicely from here, not only through the first quarter, but possibly into later 26. If, for whatever reason, we close below 454.78 in the coming weeks, we enter another sell signal, and this is a 2 to 3 month sell signal all the way back to 428.64. This is a long-term channel bottom, several years in the making, that could contain Meta selling pressures through all of 26. This could be a long-term low through all of next year. I don't expect it unless we close below 454.78. Upside, if not going to happen this week, but over the next few weeks, we close above 650.02. I have that represented here as a horizontal line. We then test this newly formed descending channel top at 711.95, which is dropping at a pretty decent pace. It'll be in the 670s over the next couple of weeks. It is our resistance that may contain buying into January, and we can fall away from here. So, I guess what I would say if I were to clarify Meta, you're bottom picking the mid 540s, anticipating an upward rotation if you're a near-term swing trader to this 711.95 descending channel top. If in the coming weeks we can close above 711.95, we have a significant buy signal. I would call that a 3 to 5 month buy signal up to 865.41, this long-term channel top, definitely 3 or 4 years in the making, able to contain buying through all of 26. And it is considered a 3 to 5 month target if we can close above 711.95 over the next month or two. Until then, we are still anticipating 545.78 as a target below 650.02. On to Google. We have this full channel extension as our objective following the settlement, as you may recall, above this channel top at 226.93 that took place in September. We have reached it and surpassed it. And there's really nothing to say about Alphabet. I could actually kind of zoom out and just show you this vertical nature of this rally. There is I don't have any more wave counts. I don't have any more line studies. I mean, and if you do start hunting around for something like that, it's just kind of more of a desperation move because you're just kind of scrambling for, really, the bottom line with Alphabet is you're long above, I could say above 273.81. This channel bottom, if tested over the next week or two, may well contain selling into January, and we can rally right to new highs from here. Upper momentum over the next 3 to 5 months remains clearly intact above 273.81. And yes, above 297.71, we should push on to new highs this week. I don't really want to create a target because I can't find one. You're either long Alphabet now or you're not. And those are the two positions you can play. If you want to take the short side in Alphabet, let it be on weakness right now with a settlement below 273.81. Not likely to happen this week, but if it did, we continue falling back to this channel top at 226.93. With present volatility, this could be like a 1 to 2 month sell-off. It could also take a little longer with more reduced volatility, but 226.93 is a channel structure that can contain selling on a quarterly basis, possibly well into 26. On to Apple. Now, Apple we cover every single week in our paid subscription. So I just give basic broad brushstroke. But if you go to wickedstocks.com, and even if you just take advantage of our 5-day free trial, you will see much more than what I'm presenting here. We give 3 to 5 day, 2 to 3 week swing trades. We go through everything in terms of near, mid, and long-term support and market direction. We recently, I'm going to say, tested the 281.28 channel top because we pushed into the 1% zone about a month ago. Having tested it, this market is susceptible to longer-term bearish rotation. And if we close this week below 264.65, we have a good high through December. We should then fall into the mid-230s. I don't show that here, but you can see all of that by going to wickedstocks.com. Inversely, if we do close this week Friday above 281.28, let it be by a full 1% margin. So add 2.81 to 281.28, and you'll get 284 and change, I suspect, and that would be your buy signal long term. No good reason to play the short side in Apple into later 26 if we close above 281.28 by a full 1% margin. Until then, have at it. We can fall all the way back into the low 200s by the end of 26. On to Nvidia. We cover Nvidia every single day on our free YouTube channel, so this is pretty redundant if you've already seen Mondays. But we are heavy below 187.87 into December trade. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should see 159.93, which I consider to be a more significant support level that may contain selling through the first quarter, and from here we can round up into these wave counts that I don't show properly here between 219 and 228 within 2 to 3 months. If we close this week back above 187.87, that neutralizes expectations for the upper 150s and should, by the end of January, result in the 219.28 area. Downside, if over the next few weeks we close below 159.93, Nvidia enters a significant sell signal into the first quarter. Within 2 or 3 months of doing so, I would expect this long-term support at 119.82. This is our channel base. Long-term trend remains clearly bullish in Nvidia above 119.82 and climbing, can absorb selling through all of 26. On to Tesla. We also cover it every single day on our YouTube channel. You may have already seen Mondays, but this is the basic for the week. Holding above 394.29, this 7-8 month channel bottom does maintain 527.87 as a 2 to 3, 3 to 5 month objective where we could top out through all of 26. If we close this week below 394.29, then we set off 313.50 as this could be within 3 to 5 weeks, potentially by the end of the year. 5/8 Fibonacci. There's also a rising speed line here. This should be respected for its ability to contain monthly, possibly quarterly selling pressures. But as I've been saying on our YouTube channel for Tesla, there is this very real possibility that if we violate this channel bottom, that we could unwind all the way into the low 200s by some point in 26. This could be 3 to 5 months, could take into later 26. There's a respectable support on the way down at 313.50. You could take this and probably should take this in stair-step fashion rather than swinging for the fences and anticipating the low 200s with a settlement below 394.29. You're expecting 313.50 within a month to at the most, and if we violate that, then you're looking for the low 200s within another 2 to 3 months. Finally, Palantir. We are definitely in it. That is to say, this support. We do have a sell signal by one measure, but this is a longer-term channel bottom at 152.17. And as long as we're above 152.17 on a week-by-week settlement basis, we can round out of here nicely as we move into the first quarter. I will say closing merely this week above 162.78 is a sign of strength. Having closed back above this channel bottom, I would expect 186.96 within a week or two, and we could push on to new highs. If we close above 162.78 this week, I think we could push on to new highs within 2 months or so, possibly much faster. In terms of resistance, in terms of target, we will iron that out once we see what the low is. If we do close below 152.17 this week, 125.41 is likely within a week or two with present volatility. And over the next several months, 2 to 3 months, I'd say at the most. This is an approximation. I've got to get real exact on it, but it is basically a double channel extension, a full channel extension. Basically, you're doubling the distance between this well-defined channel right now that we bottomed out at last week, that is this week at 152.17. Closing below 152.17 this week in Palantir, I see no compelling reason to be long Palantir. This thing should collapse into the mid-120s within a week or two and into the lower 80s within a month or two. Until then, if you're long, you can stay long above 152.17. And if you're not long and you're looking to go long, and if you haven't bottom picked 152.17, I think you can buy a settlement this week above 162.78. I'm going to leave it at that. Please click like, share, subscribe. I'll be back next week with another set of Mag 7, and you have a great week.